when the Rams picked up Baker Mayfield, look, these are just a flyer on a guy that, as a former first overall pick, has shown very good highs. But ultimately, with Baker Mayfield, he's a bust. And I don't take pride in saying this, but we have to have this discussion. In the offseason, we tried to define what a bust is, and we went over the lineage of quarterbacks. Britton called Alex Smith a bust. And then I said, oh, let's push back on that. That would make almost half of the first round NFL first overall picks busts. And usually when we look at the history of the pick, there's a level of stability with these guys. For Baker Mayfield, he has now requested a trade out of a great situation in Cleveland because he didn't want to be there anymore, which is understandable. And then he gets to Carolina, things don't work out well, and he has to be released. He now lands in Los Angeles. In my opinion, and we've went over this before, so there's no need to dive in deeper into it. For Baker Mayfield, this, if he gets this opportunity to start and he looks good, maybe his last opportunity to actually be a starter in the NFL. And the main reason why is because he's really just had some unfortunate luck with injuries, but at the same time, he's a smaller quarterback that, let's just say how it is, he's consistently injured. It's been a variety of things. And then he just made a bad choice, leaving Cleveland to go to a dysfunctional environment where he couldn't pick where he was traded, but ultimately he wanted to go there. And now for Baker, it feels like for these two parties, the Rams may be potentially looking for a long-term option at quarterback because Matthew Stafford's 34 going on 35. And like you're seeing with this neck injury, that's nothing to joke around about. You're seeing it with Andrew Luck. He retired at 29, and we could talk about him. I think he's pretty happy he retired when he did. So for Baker Mayfield, this is a pretty nice landing spot because of no pressure, quality head coach, and ultimately when there's no pressure on you, and people are taking the lights off, even while in Los Angeles, no one cares about the Rams. They're a terrible football team. They're going to have a top 5 pick this year, maybe a top 3 pick. And, well, they're not going to, you're right. But in the second round, they would. They're going to be a top 5 draft pick team. They'll then go to, of course, the Detroit Lions.
Yes.
So I'm saying, look, for Baker, this is a good move. But, I mean, this Rams offense, it's pretty bad right now.
That's what I'm saying.
Darrell Henderson earlier in the year, and no Cooper Kupp. No
you say it's a good move. I mean, yeah, Sean McVay's there, but who the hell else is there? Cooper Kupp's on IR. Allen Robinson's on IR. The offensive line has been terrible all season. They've got nothing to work with. Aaron Donald's not playing. I feel like the Houston Texans would have been a better option. Because at least their good players are healthy and playing.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And it's still no pressure. The team's 1-10-1 or 1-9-1. No pressure either. This is just, I feel like the Rams claimed him, I'm going to be honest, to get a compensatory pick because they've got absolutely no picks. And maybe there is validity to what I said earlier about the Matthew Stafford injury, and they can also be looking at Baker Mayfield possibly as their long-term answer down the road or just for next year. And I want to, in terms of the bust, John, the reason I said Alex Smith is a bust, not because he's a first-round pick. He was the first overall pick. Number 1. Like, you're held to a higher standard when you're number 1. Over everybody else, you were picked number 1. That's why I say he's a bust.
So Baker's a bust.
At this current moment, yes, but his career is still not over.
Well, it's held to a higher standard. I don't think we're ever going to see number 1 capabilities. I think that ship has sailed. Maybe we can see a leader out of the guy and become a solid NFL quarterback.
Anything can happen. That's the NFL.
I'm sorry, but number 1 picks, I feel like that's an MVP kind of player, and
that's what I'm saying. But I understand that. But we never got to see Baker get consistent.
You're right, and I don't think no matter what scenario we're going to see.
He got the consistency in the early years. You're correct, John. In the early years, yeah. But then Harbaugh came in, that was consistency. Then he got traded, and it was consistent in Kansas City. He had Andy.
No, stop that right now. Alex Smith got traded to a Chiefs team that won 2 games the year before. With Romeo Crennel, they overhaul the entire coaching staff, and in 2013, they win 11 games. They go to the first round, And yeah, what happened in that playoff game versus the Colts? They blew one of the most embarrassing leads of all time, but Alex Smith was not the only factor in that. So for the Kansas City Chiefs, they found themselves a high-level quarterback, and that, let's be honest, Alex Smith's career was robbed by a devastating injury. His story was still being written as well.
Mhm.
And when we talk about these guys, maybe I operate with too much compassion. I've also met Alex Smith, and he's one of the best people you'll ever meet. An amazing guy. As a pure quarterback, he lived up not to the billing of a number one guy, but he was a franchise quarterback.
No, he
And you
wasn't,
call him,
John.
the prototypical game manager. For
Yeah.
Alex, he had seasons where not only think about this for a second. When he first got there, Travis Kelce was not on the team. Tyreek Hill is still in college. He had Jamal Charles, but when you look at the receivers on those teams, Dwayne Bowe, Donnie Avery, Dexter McCluster, I mean, those were not household names by any stretch of the imagination. And so he was the one that really built the foundation of what is potentially a dynasty. Now, with Alex,
Oh,
they only
come
missed the
on,
playoffs in one
dude.
season.
Stop. Now you're going too far. Like, you're
What do you
not even
mean?
bringing up the fact Andy Reid gets no credit in that. So when did
Was
Travis
Andy Reid
Kelce
winning
come in?
without Alex?
When did Travis Kelce come in?
2013, but he didn't play his rookie season, so it was 2014.
Okay,
Where he
so
first
like
got
he
in.
was there, and then when did Tyreek come in? 2015.
2016.
Okay, so they're like right, like come on, man. And then you see the success that the Chiefs had with Alex Smith, right? Then you see what happened when they got Patrick Mahomes.
Well, they're
Well,
completely two
But that's
different
what I'm
quarterbacks.
saying. They
He's like,
upgraded, and that's not a slight on Alex Smith. He did his job, and he did his job to the best of his ability. He made the playoffs with a really good team.
well, he made the Chiefs a playoff team. Got that
Patrick
right.
Patrick Mahomes gives Alex Smith a lot of credit.
He does. I'm not disrespect. I'm trying not to disrespect. I'm just saying when you're the number one overall pick, you said, Justin, you said yourself, you expect that guy to be an MVP.
You're right,
Sure.
but that's
Alex
why
Smith
I
had
don't.
MVP caliber seasons.
No, he
Very good
didn't.
seasons.
I
Yeah,
don't
he
think
did.
he was ever in consideration for MVP.
He was on the outside. Three-time Pro Bowler.
Oh, 3-time is what is that?
I mean, he had seasons where 4,000 yards, led the NFL in quarterback rating and yards per completion. Lowest, like he was not throwing interceptions at all. He took care of the
Yes,
football.
that's
He was
why
a
I
high
call
level.
him a game manager.
He was a top 10 quarterback to me, and he was winning 10, 11, 12 games. I understand where you're coming from. Alex Smith was a disappointment to most NFL fans because it wasn't Aaron Rodgers. But hey, look, you can still be a really good quarterback. And the NFL, I don't think we give enough credit to this. Most first round quarterbacks miss, Brandon. About 75, 70, 66% of them
Yes.
miss. And Alex Smith was a hit. Not only was he a starter, he was a franchise caliber quarterback that won high level games. In the postseason, the Chiefs didn't have the most success. Now you get Patrick Mahomes, who is an all-world talent, and we have seen Patrick Mahomes is in a discussion of some of the best quarterbacks in NFL history, 6 years in. So for Alex Smith, it's hard to hold him to that standard because just about 99.8% of other quarterbacks in NFL history, or 99.9999%,
Yes, but John,
would also fit that same bill. Alex Smith was a really good player.
But John, I'm not arguing he was a really good player. I'm giving him his credit. But I'm saying if you just took him and put him, if you swapped Rodgers and Alex Smith in that draft and he was taking 23 and Rodgers taking number 1, I'd have no problem. I wouldn't call him a bust. I wouldn't. But he was number 1. That's what you're not seeing what I'm saying. It's because he was the number 1 overall pick. Yes, he was really good. And yes, a lot of quarterbacks don't hit in the first round. I'm the one who's been telling you that since we started. So I'm not here trying to disparage Alex Smith. I imagine he is a great guy, John. I'll take your word for it. He seems like a very great guy. All right. But we're talking on the field. We're not talking about off the field. We're talking on the field. And when I call him a game manager, that's not really a slight. Like, he was probably 14th best quarterback in the league. All right. And game manager really means a guy who he's not going to lose you the game, but he's not going to win you the game. And that
Alex
was
Smith built 3 teams that went to the Alex Smith turned 3 teams around that with him when he first got there were really bad.
Sean, you're
and
not.
By the time he was done, they were playoff caliber teams. If he doesn't get hurt, the Commanders then of course the Washington, whatever, they're going to make the playoffs in his first year with them.
But
With the
John,
49ers, he was able to win them games at a high level.
John, stop. You're not bringing up the fact of
Injuries.
no. John Harbaugh and Andy Reid as well. Like
Jay Gruden.
Okay, Washington. Like you really thought they were going to make noise in the playoffs? You really believed that?
No, but they were not a very good football
then,
team.
then
And
it
Alex
doesn't matter.
Alex had them 5-1 before his injury, my man.
I understand
Think
that,
about
but they
that for a
weren't
second.
doing anything in the playoffs, man. Come
But
on,
think
let's
about
be
it, since
real.
then, they've built
But-
a very good team. And like Alex Smith, when they made the playoffs in 2020, who was their quarterback? It was him. So I think he doesn't get enough credit for winning games at a high level because he was a high level quarterback. His record in Washington was 11-5.
But
So
I
his
thought
last
wins
season,
weren't a
5-1.
quarterback stat.
No, they're not. But
So
when
why are you
you
bringing it up?
think about what he brought to the table, all the components of just a true franchise guy, he maximized the talent. And that to me made him a franchise guy because he was able to get the most out of the players around him. And when he
Yeah.
had Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce, what do you know? They became all pro players. Now, yes, Patrick Mahomes, they've gotten better. Why? That's Patrick freaking Mahomes. We still got to give Alex Smith credit for laying that foundation for these.
But John,
high-level
wins aren't
teams.
quarterback stats in your opinion.
I'll be honest with you guys. I think we just need to change how we define a bust.
Oh, we had this
That's really
discussion.
it.
Let's not have it again.
I just think we just need to change that because then this argument would be mute. Simple. He's
Alex-
not a bust. He was a very good quarterback and he lasted a long time. If it wasn't for a devastating injury, he probably would have played 2-3 more years.
Mhm.
Redskins would have had a lot more success than
Whoa.
they did have. What they were the Redskins at the time. So I'm not going to beat around the bush. But yeah, I don't think we changed that. He's a good quarterback, not a bust. Sure, he wasn't Peyton Manning. He wasn't
Dustin,
Aaron
John.
Rodgers. I mean, I think if we have a list of the greatest number one overall picks and quarterbacks of all time, I feel like we should pull that up at some point and see where do we rank Alex Smith
Justin.
amongst number one overall
Justin,
quarterback.
can I ask you one simple question?
Sure.
Did Alex Smith live up to the number one overall pick?
No, but how many people do? But I don't think that
They're
makes
bust
him a
too.
bust.
They're
Because
bust
if he-
too.
So if he fell to number 7,
That's still top
There's
10.
Brandon, you do recognize there's a middle ground here, right? Like,
Yes.
you can be a disappointment. That doesn't make you
That-
necessarily a
I
bust.
feel that is literally that's literally the definition of a bust. If you don't live up to the hype.
A bust is
Baker Mayfield, someone that is completely flames out. A disappointment is somebody that doesn't live up to the.
Oh, you mean like
potential.
Alex Smith the first 4 years of his career?
I'm talking a Javanian Clowney.
Yeah.
That's
but why the
disappointment.
first
Jadavian Clowney's a bust now.
Time out. Why the first 4 years of his career? And so he's a bust. That means you can call Baker Mayfield a bust because you were just straight up telling
I'm
me.
taking a shot because he's
Oh,
taking a
okay.
shot at Baker.
All
I'm
right.
not. I'm just. He's
Okay.
still a bust at the end of the day. I'm just taking a shot at John because he was taking a shot at Baker.
So Baker must be a bust. Yeah, I think
I said, Justin, I literally said when you asked me that earlier, I said at this current point, yes, you can say that, but like John said, the story's still being written. Are the odds not in his favor? 100%. I can't argue that.
All right,
But
here's the
anything can
history.
happen.
Here's the history of first overall picks that play the quarterback position since 1983, so about 50 years. John Elway.
Not a bust.
You guys want to rank this while I'm compiling them so you guys have an order?
No, let's just go not a bust because that's way too hard to remember.
Well, I can remember it. John
what do you
Elway in
remember?
1983.
All right, so
Vinny
he's pretty much
Testaverde in 1987.
bust.
Kind of like the Sam Bradford tier, a little bit better.
Yeah.
Next one up, Troy Aikman in 1989.
Not a bust.
Not a bust.
Right now he's number 2.
Jeff George by the Colts in 1990.
Bust.
Think we could
To be honest, never heard of that guy in my life, so he's got to be a bust.
Next one up, Drew Bledsoe in 1993.
Not a bust. At one point, he was the highest paid quarterback. He got the
He
highest
did
NFL
make
story.
it.
contract.
He did make it to the Super Bowl.
Won them an AFC
That's on the
championship game
line.
too.
That's on the line. That's on the line for me. That's on the
He's
line.
not a bust.
No, he's not a bust. 1998 at Tennessee. This guy was drafted by the Colts. You guys might know him. Big forehead, kind of like
He's number 1.
Peyton Manning.
Yeah.
Okay, not a bust, obviously.
This
Number
one's
30.
pretty good too. Cleveland Browns, 1999 out of Kentucky. Can you guys guess it?
Oh, he's got a funny last name, right?
Furniture.
Funny. Yeah.
Tim Couch. I'll
Couch.
say it.
Yes, there it is. There. I kept thinking of kitchen. I don't know why.
Freddie Kitchens.
Yeah,
So he's a bust.
Yeah,
2001 Michael Vick.
not a bust.
David
Well-
Carr, 2002.
Who?
David Carr.
Bust.
Oh yeah, sorry, yeah, bust.
2003 Carson Palmer.
Not a bust.
Mm-mm. I wouldn't say so. I feel like he's kind of in the Drew Bledsoe camp where
Hmm.
unfortunate
that's
circumstances that we're not
borderline.
getting to.
That's a borderline.
Alex Smith, or sorry, Eli Manning, 2004.
Not a bust.
Yeah, you can't say he's a bust.
2005 Alex Smith, not a bust at all, not even close.
Not a bust.
Franchise quarterback is what Alex Smith is.
Hmm.
Leader. Maximize his talent. That's what he is. Say it, Brandon. Where are you going? Stamp it.
I've already said it.
Disappointed in you. 2007 Marcus Russell.
Bust.
2009 Matthew Stafford.
Not a bust.
Not a bust.
2010 Sam Bradford.
Bust.
Mm-hmm.
2011 Cam Newton.
Not a bust. He won
Not a
MVP,
bust.
Went to the Super Bowl.
2012 Andrew Luck.
Not a bust.
Not a bust.
2015 at Florida State. Jameis Winston.
Bust.
That's a bust.
I hate.
Well,
to
I
say
wouldn't.
it.
I wouldn't say bust because he's a starting caliber quarterback
He's
in
not.
the league.
He's not a starting caliber
not.
quarterback, Justin.
You don't think so? Not
He's
anymore.
like a bottom. He's like a bottom 7 starting caliber
He's in the
quarterback.
tier of guys where you've given them so many opportunities and they've disappointed you so many times.
Okay, yeah.
And it makes.
Who would you
things
rather
even
have,
worse.
Brandon? Alex Smith or Jameis Winston?
Alex Smith, obviously, Justin.
All right. On to the
That's not saying a lot.
He's in that camp of guys where he's just such an uninteresting backup at this point. He's a fun
Who's next?
character.
Jared Goff?
No.
No?
Yeah, Jared Goff. Sorry, 2016.
Bust.
Hate to say it.
Hate to say it. It's a bust.
I mean, he went to the Super Bowl,
So what?
and look at the year he's putting
So
up. in
did Trent
Detroit.
Dilfer.
He's having a very good season. You have to give that's Jared Goff at his peak. Brandon was a top 10 quarterback here. He was producing at a high level, and he was one that was getting the most out
Okay,
of the
let's
team
move
around.
on. Let's go on to he's a bust. Let's go.
So disrespectful. He's having a very good season right now in Detroit. He's going to line up a chance where next year or in this upcoming draft in 2023, they can go defensive front and then the following year quarterback.
I guess this is a better question. Jared Goff or Alex Smith, Brandon?
Alex Smith.
Okay, next.
2018 Baker Mayfield. All right. Bust.
This current moment, bust.
Yep.
2019 Kyler Murray.
Can't say yet. It's way too early, and he's like
Well, he hasn't lived up to number
14.
one expectations.
He hasn't, Brandon.
he hasn't. But he's like,
Maturity-wise.
how many years has he been in the league? 3?
4?
Year 4 for him.
4 freaking years. I mean, he's number. I don't think he's going to live up to it. So if you want me to project, then yes, he's going to be a bust in my opinion. I'm
Ooh.
projecting.
He's a complete quarterback too. That's pushing it. 2020. Joe Burrow.
No,
Not a bust.
so
He's
cool,
the man.
baby.
Joey Cool is a top 3 quarterback right now. In 2021, Trevor Lawrence.
We can't say right
Too
now.
soon to tell.
He's not a bust. I mean, he's already,
be
in
a
my
bust.
opinion, top 12
Oh, yeah.
quarterback.
You can project it, yeah.
And he's a budding star. That's what he is currently. So we went through that list of guys, right? And since 2000s, Tim Couch, David Carr, Jamarcus Russell, Sam Bradford, and Jared Goff. Those 5 guys. Oh, and Jameis Winston, of course. Those 6, those are busts. Now, in that time frame, in the last 22 years, 16 quarterbacks are taken number 1, huh? So about 10 out of them, to me, were high-level starters at the very least. Jared Goff, Andrew Luck. No, not Andrew Luck. Jared Goff, Michael Vick, Eli Manning, Carson Palmer, and Alex Smith all being included in that mix. So, in my opinion, some of those guys are disappointing, but they're franchise guys, and that to me makes them surely worthy number one overall selections.